Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cafe Damietta podcast on WVCR 88.3 The Saint. Today, we will dive into the rich tapestry of experiences that shape our identities. I'm your host, Kelyse Mallory, and today I am joined by a current Siena College student. He is a business major and a junior. Today, we'll explore different aspects of his culture by asking engaging questions that reveal the richness and traditions of his daily life. So, Dylan, we all know how busy it is during this time of the semester. So we appreciate you taking the time today to sit down and have a conversation with us. I would love to just start with a formal welcome. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Dylan, and I'm doing pretty good today. Woke up early, got ready, and excited to be here.
Awesome, Dylan. Well, thank you again for taking the time out of your day, waking up early and starting with us on today. And for our listeners, can you just give us a little bit of your background? And it could be as complex as you want, or it could just be, here's a little bit about me.
Sure, I would love to do that. I'm a junior, 20 years old. I come from Long Island, Smithtown particularly. I've lived there practically all my life. And, it's good to be in Albany for a change. Being here for 3 years, definitely seen a lot. Experienced new people, enjoy new things. It's good to be here. I'm Italian. I'm also Irish. I actually got to recently go on a trip to Italy, got to experience a little bit of my Italian culture side, which was a great experience. I would do it again and again, and so many times I would definitely do it. I love to experience new things. I started off as a political science major, and I knew that it was not exactly a great fit for me, but I knew I had to try it.
Right.
So I then switched over to business and seemed as a more safer, more comfortable option. And so far, I think I'm liking it, and I'm excited to see what it brings for me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that well thought out response. And I always love hearing about what brings people to Siena. And I know you mentioned that you're from Smithtown, Long Island.
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about Smithtown and what home was like for you.
Yeah, so Smithtown is a little cozy spot 4 hours away from here.
Okay.
And, I've been there literally all my life for like 19, 20 years. I've known a lot of people. I see people on the streets, or drive past people, and I'm like, yeah, I definitely seen that face before. It's just, you feel like you just know everybody around. So, it can definitely get pretty cold, like especially around this time of year too. When it comes spring, summertime, it gets really nice. We have some nice beaches. The Robert Moses Beach I like to go to. Sometimes the Jones Beach.
Oh yeah, that's where concert. I go.
Yeah, exactly. So I hope to get there soon.
Yeah.
But it's really good.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And I just think it's so cool that I think most times people don't realize that our home is much more than just the location. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's about the culture, the traditions, and just all of the good vibes that you get from just being at home. So thank you again for sharing that. It was so special. What are some cultural traditions or aspects of home that you really hold on to while you're here at Siena?
Ooh, that's a good question, actually.
A loaded question.
Loaded question, yeah. So, I grew up in a household where my father, for instance, he wasn't he's not really religious, particularly at all.
Okay.
And he's like an atheist, so I'm kind of used to that side. And my mom is Catholic, but not practicing. Neither am I, so I kind of just fit with that. But growing up, we had this tradition of just going to church, once a week, just for communion, or for, just to pray and to talk about our sins and stuff. But now it's just like, our traditions are more of just eating together as a family, going out, every once in a while just to like talk about things, talk about life, see, catch up on what you're doing. It's really nice. I sometimes regret not joining in because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm too lazy, like, oh, I don't have time, or I'm going out
Right.
with friends,
Right.
So my tradition, or I should say our tradition, is to just talk about new things, show that we're together, that
Mhm.
um, we're all under the same roof, and that we just that we love being around each other,
Right.
so if that makes sense.
No, yeah.
um but yeah, it's traditions. Yeah, I guess I'd say like that. I can't really think of anything else right now off the
Okay.
top of my head, so
But yeah, no, that's definitely something. Something about that unity, like being in a shared space and just knowing that we're here together. I
hmm
feel like that's really special,
yeah,
really important. So thank you again for sharing that.
of course.
Before we dive into more specifics of your background, can you just let our listeners know how your Siena experience has been as an Italian slash
Yes.
Irish man?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm mostly Italian.
Okay.
I haven't done. We had this. Well, besides before I get into what I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
we have this little thing, the 23andMe thing.
Oh,
We've had on the table, like where we're trying to figure out how much, like percentage wise, of what our ethnic background is.
right.
That has been on the table, or like it's been put away for like a year now. We
Mm-hmm.
still have not done it, and I want to do it, so I find out like how Italian I am, how Irish. I think I have a little bit of Jewish in me,
Uh-oh.
so yeah. So I got to figure out. Um, but in terms of Siena experience as an Italian, I say for the most part it's pretty good.
Okay.
Me and my roommate actually, we are in the Italian club, so we created that.
Mm.
He is the president. I'm the vice president,
Oh, cool.
and we are starting actually the club. If anybody's interested in listening,
I actually signed up at Club Fair.
yeah,
Yeah. I just
awesome.
signed up.
Yeah, we had a very specific location where we wanted to put it. We had the Italian flag, make sure everyone
Yes.
comes and sees it. Yeah, I brought the speaker. I realized when we were playing the music, it was a little too loud, and we were trying to we didn't want to overpower everybody,
Right.
So, but it was cool. We got a good amount of people signed up, which was
Mhm.
great. So I hope to see everybody there. The 21st in Snyder.
Save the date, y'all.
Save
the
the date.
21st in
Yeah.
Snyder.
Exactly. So if you're Italian, but you have no idea, any about the language or the culture, have an interest in it, come by. We're happy to help. So we're doing that. Overall, the experience with myself, it's good. I don't have no complaints really with the people. I think, we are immersed well, like well together. We share some good experiences, with past roommates and just friends that I see across, even off campus too.
Mhm.
Just meeting people. But yeah, I sometimes I try to walk around, or if you'll see me like in conversation, you see like the Italian gestures. I mean, coming out every once in a while.
Right. You guys
So
can't see him, but he's gesturing his hand as he's speaking to
yeah,
me.
yeah. I've seen that a lot more in Italy. So
Okay.
I definitely. You probably wouldn't tell. Like I don't have like the Italian accent because I obviously didn't grow up in Italy, but
Mhm.
I try to stick to my Italian roots, especially with watching all the Italian movies, the mobster
Right.
movies. Anybody who's seen Sopranos, they definitely know.
Yes.
But yeah,
Awesome. Thank you again. I'm going to just keep saying thank you, but
yeah,
thank you again for all of your responses and how engaged you are in this conversation. And you kind of already hinted at what I was going to ask you next, which is any extracurriculars or clubs that you're involved with here at Siena. So you mentioned the Italian club, but is there anything else that you mind sharing or
sure. So I'm doing rugby actually right now. It just started up.
rugby?
Yeah, yeah. It's a complicated yet very fun and thought processed sport. So
Mhm.
you have to really work together as a team, communicate, which I'm still learning. Just like my third, fourth day doing it, but I'm getting great feedback from some actually old roommates who are on the team, as well as my coach. So I definitely am grateful for that. but I hope to pursue that sport and see where that takes me. Being actually a performer, tennis player, as well as a little bit of football player,
Uh-oh.
I tend to bring that mindset into the rugby, so I like forget that I'm playing rugby and not those sports. Like the
Right.
foot movement, that's okay. But like football, like when you're just like kind of reaching out, trying to get the ball, kind of not being in a formation, it's different,
Mm-hmm.
but very great learning lesson, I would say, in terms of like working with teammates and just working as a unit, like you
Awesome.
mentioned.
Right.
Yeah, and in terms of like, anything else? Really, those two things. I mean, hobbies. I guess I'll mention
Okay.
any
Yeah.
interests. I'm a gym guy. I go to the gym
Gym
here.
rat.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm just gonna say it, so why not? Um, I've tried to. I'm actually doing a little bit of a personal trainer certification
Mm.
side thing right now, where I'm trying to get my certification and like learn about all the health aspect as well as the communication, the physical aspect
Right.
of being a personal trainer. It's a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely know I will get it done. That's actually I mentioned about getting things done. Motivation. I'm kind of going a little bit off topic here.
No, you're good. You're good.
Um, but motivation, something I was definitely struggle with throughout my life,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope to get better at doing that. And I'm sure other people can understand. And if anybody listening, you definitely motivation is a hard thing, and I something I always like keep in my mind as like a goal.
Yeah.
Um, but you just keep moving forward and keep joining clubs and like doing hobbies, anything interesting. So and that way you get more, um, out there. So say to speak.
Yeah. Thank you so much again
Yeah.
for your responses. And just to wrap up a little bit, you kind of already touched on, well, you didn't say this exactly, but finding your niche in college.
Mhm.
For you, you said you struggled with motivation, and now you're somebody who's involved in sports, involved in different clubs on Siena. And that takes a lot of motivation. Even being a junior, even making it this far, you had to be motivated to do your assignments.
Right.
And for all the listeners out there, it's so important in college to find your niche. You don't want to just be in college and you're doing something that you don't like, or you can't find friends, or you're just struggling to enjoy being here, and being involved helps combat that feeling. When we return, we will talk about other aspects of culture that people often overlook. Culture isn't just about traditions or language, it's also about the food that carries history, meaning, and identity. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back here on WVCR 88.3 The Scene. So we just wrapped up a conversation discussing his hometown, his cultural background, and his life here at Siena College. Now moving along to the next question that will shape the rest of our conversation. Dylan, are you ready?
I am ready.
Yes. Okay. So we briefly touched on aspects of your background, but now I want to get extremely specific about a piece of that background. Okay. So, growing up, what was your favorite food and what does this food remind you of?
Mm. So my favorite food, growing up, definitely was pizza. Um, I think that many people probably can relate since pizza is a staple,
Right.
American culture and Italian culture.
Love pizza, love pizza.
Yeah, let's go. I particularly the cheese pizza. Can't. Some I've gotten. Nowadays I'm more like I switched over to like meat lovers or like buffalo chicken, but you
Mm,
can't go wrong with just a simple cheese pizza from like a really good Italian restaurant.
right.
And my pizza palate, I guess, changed when I was in Italy. When I talked a little bit about that, and having pizza, made right from my host mom's house, and in different pizza parlors across Italy, made such a huge difference in terms of like taste, flavor, how they bake it, everything. Probably one of the best pizzas I had was from my host parents cooking, and
Mm.
it was actually there was one cheese pizza flatbread, and then there was some sort of like Gouda with potato on top.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah. So I wanted more. Unfortunately, they ran out, and I was just like, oh damn, I wish I
Oh.
had more. But yeah, that food, and uh, pizza favorite food. That's
Hmm.
definitely one of them for sure.
Awesome. And for our listeners who are just tuning in, Dylan mentioned in the last segment that he's he studied abroad in Italy. So that's what he was referring to when he was talking about his host parents. So I know you said that was probably the best pizza that you've ever had.
Yeah.
So can you give us a typical day? Like describe that whole day when that pizza was made and just what it made you like what it reminded you of.
Yeah. So dinner in Italy was every day at
Mm.
8 o'clock, and
So late.
so late. Yeah. um, it was always at 8 o'clock. My host mom made sure that she would
Mhm.
notify me. Send a message after that, making sure that I was there at 8 o'clock. I would be either at the gym or coming back late from class, and I'm just like, oh, I got to make sure I had there in time. Time management was a little tricky with that one,
Uh-oh.
because I'm like more of a late nighter, like to do things late. So I had to make sure to run there quick. But that one day, we had pizza, and it was the only day I was in Italy for the 4 months. We had pizza, and it was at 8 o'clock, and I saw they were all in their chef gear, making pulling something out of the oven, and I just see like two huge, or trays I should say,
Mhm.
of these flatbreads, and it smelled so good, and
Wow.
my host brother who was there at the time,
Mhm.
he was, he's so used to it. So he just knows that no, this better be really good. It can't be bad.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I'm just like used to like, decent pizza here.
Yeah.
New York City, pretty decent pizza for the, $1. Well, if they even have the $1 slice anymore.
Probably not in this
Yeah,
economy.
probably not with inflation. Yeah, let's not go down economics. But yeah, it was great, and it was free, so I didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And we just all got to talk. And being that my host parents and my host brother, all speak fluent Italian, I'm just trying to listen, figure out what the hell they're saying.
Mhm.
But for the 4 months that I was there, I was able to pick up a lot of language. But as they
Awesome.
say, you if you once you forget about it or you don't use it, you lose it.
Mhm.
So that's you want to make sure you keep up with it if you're learning a language. But it's a great experience.
Awesome. I love how as you were explaining, like I felt like I was there with you,
Yeah,
running, trying to go get there before 8 o'clock.
yeah,
Your host brother is saying, "Oh, it better be good,"
yeah,
and that kind of like brings me to my next point, where it's just like food is so much more than what we eat. Because even as you were describing the whole day, what that looked like. It's tied to memories,
hmm,
traditions, and even emotions.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So when this food is being prepared, what smells, sounds, and textures stand out to you? You kind of hinted at like some sounds, like they're all speaking Italian, but
Yeah.
go more into depth about the smells and the textures,
Okay.
or more sounds if you want.
Okay. Um. So in terms of the texture,
Mm-hmm.
just the taking the first bite of pizza, like of this delicious pizza, it was like the crunchiness and like just the all the juices and the flavor from the sauce and the cheese that was topped on it, especially the potato, really was like wow, this
Yeah.
it's like coming from like an Italian kitchen, right out of the oven, like oh my
Homemade,
god,
fresh.
yeah, this never happens in my household. So it was a great great eating it, and if I had like, if I was there right now, I would be the first thing I would ask was that Italian flatbread.
Mm-hmm.
No question about it. In terms of the sound, the first thing that came to mind was walking through the door and then just hearing my host dad saying, "Ciao, Dylan, come stai?" How you doing?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then hearing the oven go off, the beep from the saying that it's ready, and then my host mom pulling it out, and just seeing like all the smoke, and the trays of pizza, it was great, and just hearing like I said, the Italian conversations, it's really coll. I mean, those are some of the sounds that definitely resonates with me.
Yeah, awesome. That's such a vivid picture. Like, I'm sure our listeners can attest to this. Like, you guys are in the kitchen with Dylan right now because I am, and my stomach is growling. But anywho, I love how certain smells and sounds can just take us back to such a specific moment in time. And for you, it was your experience in Italy, and I think that's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So now every culture has its own customs around food, whether it's the way the meals are served, who cooks, or even the way that we eat. Are there any unique food customs or traditions from your culture that you would like to share?
The the traditions here in the U.S. is just speaking with pizza is where we constantly fold the pizza, right? We fold it and make sure we have a nice clean slice.
Right.
But in Italy, the tradition is more of just like, you grab it and you just take a bite, no folding. That's like forbidden. That's a sin, as they say. You know, but that's definitely like a tradition, I would say, from Italy and the U.S.
Yeah, so listeners, take notes. Do not fold your pizza when you go to Italy.
Yeah, don't.
Eat it as is?
Eat it as is, yes. Do not fold it. They will give you weird looks, and they know that. I mean, they probably already know you're American, but they'll definitely know you're American if you do that.
Yes.
So.
You kind of already hinted on like the tradition that you could remember, and just how being in Italy and how much this food has just brought you comfort. So let's talk about the emotional side of pizza, right? Well, it doesn't have to be pizza, but since we're talking about pizza,
okay.
Is there a particular dish that when you eat it, it instantly makes you feel like you're at home?
I would say because my mom, you can't go wrong with mom's cooking. You can't.
You can't.
If you skip on it, you're that's a problem. You can't be doing that.
Right.
There's only so many meals you can have from your mom before, that you're gonna miss. So, I would say like a pasta dish. Spaghetti carbonara or just penne alla vodka. That's more. You don't really see penne alla vodka in Italy, but that's those kind of dishes, or lasagna with just simple ricotta is definitely something that brings home for me. And I would eat a whole tray of that if I could. Especially nowadays I kind of eat a lot, 3-4 meals a day. So it's it definitely it feels nice, knowing that. You also do feel homesick, if you're away from family, especially here in college, although if I had to say about the meals on campus, I wouldn't, I couldn't relate. I couldn't tie that together.
Oh yeah,
No.
Of course not.
Yeah, no. I'm sure everybody else can agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, those kind of dishes, because we're so Italian. My dad, I think my dad's more Italian than my mom, even though my mom actually looks more Italian. My mom's got dark hair. My dad's actually bald.
Okay.
And I, however, do not have dark hair. I got more of like the Irish look, so immediately people think I'm just more Irish, or I'm just Irish and no Italians, but actually I am more Italian. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I just love how, you hinted on how food has the ability to just bring comfort. Like your mom's cooking. Like I love my mom's cooking. I love her cooking. And it just brings those feelings of comfort and a connection to home. So I know you said not the food here, but do you have a kitchen? Do you cook? Have you tried to recreate something from home, and how did that turn out?
Yeah. Being that I live in Padua, yeah,
Okay.
it's we definitely don't have a kitchen. That would be great if we
Mhm.
did. I don't really cook myself, but I definitely know how to make a mean omelet or like just some good hard boiled eggs or just over easy. Those
Mhm.
are my kind of things. Eggs is definitely something I live by a
Love
lot.
an egg.
Yeah, yeah. I was initially thinking about being a. This is way back. I was initially thinking about do culinary and like actually do being in a kitchen and working with
Mm.
food. But
As your major or?
no, as like but before I was in college, just like
Oh, okay.
as a hobby, or as an interest to go to culinary school.
Mhm.
So that could have been a different avenue, but I realized I wouldn't be so much into the culinary field, and I
Mhm.
knew that it would be like I'm not too passionate about it.
I understand.
So, and I'm still looking for a passionate area or subject to work with. So,
Yeah. It's unfortunate that you don't have a kitchen that you can
yeah.
use, and
Hopefully next year.
hopefully,
Yeah.
senior year,
Yeah.
hopefully. Um, but yeah, I just appreciate you taking the time to respond and be here today. And just as we wrap up, is there anything that you just wanted to share with everyone?
Um. So going back to a little bit of the motivation thing,
Mm-hmm.
if I can say anything, just stay positive. Be motivated. Take that extra step. Whatever it may be. It's a great feeling at the end.
Thank you so much for that piece of advice. It's so
Of course.
important that we stay motivated and we try to do things that give us that sense of, okay, I got this done. Let me check it off. That's so important. And yeah, so Dylan, I thank you so much for joining us today. And I thank you for everything that you shared with me, our listeners, and just, again, taking your time to be here. We're so grateful for your presence and your ability to share and everything else.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to Cafe Damietta on WVCR 88.3 The Saint. Stay connected with us for more conversations that explore culture, identity, and community here at Siena College. Until next time, take care.